railroad fans. Did a little terraforming today, something I've been meaning to get back to and do, but I was kind of waiting until I got all of the trees and structures and hills and valleys and all that, the major things figured out, how they were going to look and go. So I went back in and I took these flat areas, just these simple little flat areas, and I mixed up some. This is not Sculptamold mold. This is, I'll show you what this is. This is Nara paper mache. I get this at Hobby Lobby. Now it's not nearly as good as Sculptamold mold for what Sculptamold is good for. You can't carve this stuff, at least I don't think you can. It is really just paper. It's got the consistency of oatmeal, and you can never get it completely smoothed out. It's always got these little oatmeal-like bumps in it, but that's fine because I'm looking for an earthy look anyway. But this stuff does smooth out really, really well. I used it over here. I never mentioned it, but you see how I don't know if you can tell or not, but I built a little gully going down into my stream here on both sides. You can see a little bit of an indentation there. Let me focus it a little better. There we go. So there's a little bit of an indentation. There's a lot more indentation on this side, but my intention is to go back in and not have any flat areas on this layout except in the actual areas where the buildings are and where the track has been laid, because everybody knows that land just undulates. It doesn't have to be anything major, and I'm not looking for any kind of major landscaping vistas here. I'm just trying to create some little bumps and valleys along the way to keep it from being flat and looking artificial. So what I've done is I've gone in to all the flat areas, and I have just added, maybe not even more than 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch of something there, but just something to give it a little texture. The major thing that I did, and let me get the little porter out of the way here and show you. The only major landscaping that I did was when I built this mine, it needed to be higher off the track. I knew that because I set it up with the track in front of it. I knew that I needed some height to keep from hitting those chutes with my cars. So I built it up. About 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch higher. And that left me a high spot in the back where my little road comes through. I'll take you back through here and see, this is where the dirt road comes in from the backdrop back there. So my dirt road comes in, and it was coming up to this high spot. So what's happening now is the dirt road takes a little incline right there and goes around the back of the tracks and then connects in the back with the height of this little road that runs between the house there and the mine shaft, the lift house. Sorry, couldn't think there for a minute what I was talking about. So I needed to fix this little place right here and sort of make it ease into a transition. But the main thing is this right here. All right, let me kill the sound here. There we go. The main thing is this area right here where this track goes in, and I like the fact that it looks like the track has been dug into a little bit of an embankment there. So what I'm going to do after this dries is I'm going to come in with some cribbing and probably a little guardrail of sorts there where the road is passing right by that. So that's my intention for that area back there. A word about this stuff from Hobby Lobby, though. It does not dry as fast as Sculptamold. Now, if you like to go back and resculpt things, that's a good thing, but I'm talking days and days. It takes it sometimes 3 or 4 days to harden. And when it hardens, it feels just like paper mache. I mean, that's really what it is. It's just paper mache, but it works so well for these little areas like I like to smooth out and without getting into anything major like carving rocks and that sort of thing. So everywhere you see white is where I have done a little bit of terraforming today, and I think I'm happy with it. I don't think I need to do any more. This area back here is all flat because this area serves auto traffic, truck traffic to these various buildings back here. And of course this area over here is going to be flat right here because this is that little place that I mentioned in the earlier video where I think we're just going to pile up with some junk. The junk that comes in the road here comes around to this speeder shed here and water tower, water tank. So that's going to be a little parking area for trucks, and it's also just going to be a junk storage area. And of course this area right here has to remain flat for the turntable. Back here in the back where my climax is sitting, the climax is actually where the engine house will go, and so I may have to dig into this just a little bit. I'm not sure the dimensions, how far out the engine house will come, but it's easy enough to dig up if I need to. If I need a flatter area there for the engine house, I think I've left myself enough clearance. The engine is sticking out further than it actually will. This engine with its water tender in the back, because it has to have that water tender because that's where the battery is situated in this particular one. This is too large for the engine house. I know that. The engine house really would just, it's a small engine house. It would just house the loco. It would not house the loco and the water tender. So even though it's sticking out beyond here where my white is, that's not how far out the engine house is going to come. So just giving you a little lay of the land, catch you up on what I've done with trees. I ordered these trees, these two trees. This one, isn't that beautiful? And this one from a gentleman on eBay, and he builds these with wire armatures and then uses the super leaves. And my intention, of course, is to use these twigs out of my yard as armatures. I'm waiting on the seafoam and some super tree material to get here, and then I'm going to experiment with these. And if that doesn't work, I will go this route. I've also ordered some floral wire to experiment with building some of these trees. He was kind enough to send me a tutorial video on how he does these trees, and I think I can do that. And I would buy them from him. I think they're great trees. I certainly wouldn't mind buying them from him, but he models in HO and builds HO, and so these trees are not nearly the height that I need for this O-scale layout. They work great as smaller trees, undergrowth, saplings, whatever, and I will use them for that, and I probably will order some more from him because he does great work on those trees, but they just don't suit me in size for what I need for the majority of my trees. So this is where we stand on the little stream that comes down the hill. I'm really happy with the way all of that turned out. You see I've got my mud stains in there, and I don't think, I talked earlier about maybe putting some muddy water in there. I don't think I'm even going to do any water in this area. I think it serves the purpose that it's supposed to serve. It looks like water has been there. You know water has been there. Water runs down here in wet weather, but it's not a cascading waterfall all the time. And so there's mud on my rocks where the water spills down. There's green where the algae is growing. There's just so much going on in this little area that I'm so happy with it, just the way it is. I don't think I'm going to pour any water in it at all. So I'm using some clump foliage for undergrowth here. I might or might not keep that. Foliage is easy enough to remove when the time comes when I come up with something. If I could come up with a super tree that would fit in here, I mean, doing some small bushes using that super tree material and super leaf, I probably will, but right now that serves its purpose. As my intentions are that I want to get this looking good, fairly soon, so I can sit back and enjoy it a little bit and not think about what has to be done to it. So that's the reason I'm using a lot of this foliage that might not be as prototypical as what I finally want to use, but it's easy enough to build a tree, go back in and pluck one of these out and put a better tree in its place when the time comes. So I'm just really looking at these trees. You see how my twigs just blend in so well. You can hardly tell what's a twig, and that's a twig right there, but it looks for all the world like it's part of the backdrop. So I'm really pleased with the height, the size, and variety and color of these twigs, and how they blend in so well with the backdrop. So I got all my equipment sitting basically, where it's going to be servicing for now. I think Rusty's going to service this little area over here. Probably the little porter is going to service the mine. Betsy is going to be bringing freight in and out, and we'll be working the little off-spot areas over here. Don't really have a use on this layout right now, and actually that's too many locomotives anyway, but that we've got to have some purpose for them because we want to use them all every once in a while. So I'll bring in the Climax sometimes and let her work the layout as well. I've also sent one of my locomotives off to Ben Pafiro at Broken Pine Shops, who did Betsy for me, and also did Rusty. And I have sent him my Climax. I'm sorry, I've sent him my Shay, and I've instructed him to make it look like it's a little older than Rusty and Betsy, but from the same era, from the same railroad, actually. I'm leaving Broken Pine on these two locomotives. I'm proud to run these locomotives that Ben has built, and so in my mind, these are just borrowed power from another railway. The Shay that he's building, I have asked him to actually begin with subsequently what I send to him, starting with this Shay. They are going to be labeled as Crypto Falls Timber and Coal. So I'm anxious to see him get on that and see how that turns out. He does great work. So that's just a little catch-up video for everybody, just to sort of show you what's been going on. The major things I still have to do is right here where this little temporary shed sits is where the Sierra West truck repair shop is going to go. It's a bit smaller than this. It's more along the size of Earl's Oil there, and it'll sit right here. And then in this larger area right here is where the railroad office, also a Sierra West kit that I'm waiting on to be shipped, and it will go, and it'll be the biggest industry actually on this entire layout, and it will encompass this whole area right there from the dirt road to the tracks. And then of course I've got to build the turntable, and I've got to build the engine shed back there in the back, and that will be it, folks. I said in my first video, my intention here in building this modular layout is I get bored doing one thing. I even get bored when I come over here to my shop and I think I'm going to do something and I ended up doing 5 other things. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. I had no intention of doing this doing this terraforming today. That was not my intention. I was actually going to come over here and get started on the truck repair shop, and I saw that bag of stuff and looked at these flat areas and just decided, I'm going to do this today instead. So it's fun, it's not a job, it's not a business, it's not something that I have to answer to anyone for, so I can do what I want to. That's a lot of the fun of it, that. So back to what I was saying, my intention with building this modular layout is so that I don't get bored just laying track all over the place, and then I don't get bored adding turnout controls, I don't get bored doing the wiring, I don't get bored, et cetera, et cetera. I get to build the whole layout, from building my storage unit all the way up to the layout itself, to putting up the backdrop, to designing and building the buildings and structures and terraforming the land and weathering the rails, doing all those things. And then once I get this done, I get to do it all over again on the next module. And then once I get that done, I get to do it again on the next module. I really think this is the way to go. And you know, also, if you build modularly, you never know when you're going to move. I see all the time people having to take their railroads down, people having to sell their railroads because they sold their house, trying to sell a house with a railroad stuck in it. I mean, it just makes more sense to me to make the thing mobile all the time. It wouldn't take me but 5 minutes to roll this thing onto a U-Haul truck and take it to the next destination, or to put it in my trailer or whatever. So that's what I see as the good part of this modular stuff. And you know, maybe some of y'all are building modularly too. I'm sure you are. A lot of people build the very small modules. You know, there's the T-tracks and all of that, which I think is fascinating as well. I didn't want a bunch of little modules like that, though. I wanted a manageable large module system that I could move to a different location when I need to. And I think that's coming along just fine. So this is just a catch-up video, and the next few videos will probably be a little further and farther in between as I start building these structures. These Sierra West structures take a long time to build, so once I get into these Sierra West structures, I'll be keeping you updated as to what's going on with them. But you know, it'll be weeks between structure builds, so it'll probably be weeks between significant video uploads. But in the meantime, I would like to do a few operational videos and just let everybody see how the operation's going. I thought about doing this. I'm really considering this. If any of you'd like to see it, you know, I did a video about 5 or 6 videos back about using Train Player and how I use Train Player to design the layout. I think it would be fascinating to take my camera and mount it to the ceiling up here and do about a 10 or 15 minute operation session on the layout, and then simultaneously, if I can figure out how to do a split screen, do that same operations on the Train Player, and just let you see how authentic the Train Player is to you know, to the size of these cars, and to how it really helped me shape and mold this layout. So that's something else in my mind that's in the works too. So I do plan to keep the channel going, and of course, you know, when I get into the next module, that's a whole other series of videos that will be similar to what we've already done. But I'm glad you came along for the ride. I shouldn't make it sound like that, because it's not over by any means, but we are getting to that point now that this layout portion is nearing completion. And you know, I'm excited just to be able to hang out with it and do some operations and play around with it after I get the rest of this done. So hey, thanks for being here. I'm just going to keep this video under 20 minutes this time, and keep enjoying the hobby. Keep posting comments and let me know what you like, what you don't like. If you'd like to see something specific, I'll be glad to do that. Give me ideas. I've gotten some ideas from several of you all along the way. I get ideas on the Facebook page as well. Some people have made some really good suggestions to me, and I have followed some of those suggestions, and it has improved what I've done. So I appreciate you all. Keep having fun with your layouts, and happy railroading.